They always said I'm wrong, but what they doing today? I think they want me gone, but I ain't going away. They told me I was wrong, but look at my ass today. Da 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 da.
Yo guys, what's going on? I'm Tim Kelly. This is the NFL Final Score on the Real Sports Talk Network. If you missed any of the NFL Week 14 action, have no fear. This is a rapid rundown of every single game. Let's get going with the Rams and the Bills. The Rams improved to 6-1. They get to 500 with a 15-12 win over the Buffalo Bills, who dropped to 5-8. A late Brandon Gibson touchdown gets the Rams to 500. Ryan Fitzpatrick, with the exception of the interception he threw today, had one of his most efficient days that I've ever seen. He was 25 of 33 for 247 yards. He threw a touchdown. Pretty good game for him. The Rams, though, end up getting the win. And they're not probably going to make the playoffs, but the Rams have had a pretty solid season in Jeff Fisher's first year there. The Cowboys get it, as time expires, get a 20-19 win over the Bengals to keep their playoff hopes alive. Both teams now stand at 7-6. Dan Bailey hits a field goal. And yesterday, if you didn't hear, Jerry Brown, a member of the Cowboys practice squad who did play a game for them this season, he died in a car accident that was with one of his teammates, Josh Brent. So there's been a lot of turmoil with the Cowboys over the last 24 hours. They got a comeback after a Dez Bryant touchdown. Dan Bailey caps it off in overtime or as time expires, I should say, with the field goal. Cowboys win 2019. The Browns get a 30-7 win over the Chiefs. Despite 165 rushing yards from Jamal Charles, Trent Richardson's 2 touchdowns propel the Browns to a blowout win. And it is not often that I get to say that, but the Browns do get a blowout win today. They improved to 5-8. Romeo Crennel drops the game to his former team. 2-11 is where the Chiefs stand at now. The big play in this game was a 93-yard punt return touchdown by Travis Benjamin of the Browns. So the Browns get a win. Essentially, though, this game meant nothing. The Colts get a 27-23 win over their division rival, the Tennessee Titans. They improved to 9-4. Titans had the exact opposite record at 4-9. Two late field goals from Adam Vinatieri help lead the Colts to a 9-4 record. Andrew Luck did not have a great game today by any means. 2 picks coming off a week last week where he had 4 picks. If they're going to be a serious contender in the playoffs, he has to cut down on those kicks. But the one sign you do get out of today, Adam Vinatieri just never stops kicking field goals. He's been doing it for over 10 years now. He did it with Tom Brady. He did it with Peyton Manning. And now he's doing it with Andrew Luck, who went 16 of 34 with a touchdown and 2 picks today. The Colts are 9-4. I don't know how serious they are, but they're 9-4. Vikings are 7-6 after a 21-14 win that drops the Bears to 8-5. Jay Cutler left this game with a head injury. John Clayton of ESPN has said it was more for precautionary reasons, but we'll see. It's possible he took a pretty nice hit to the head that he could have a concussion. I'm sure he'll get tested for it. He probably has been by the time you're watching this video. Adrian Peterson is my MVP. Peyton Manning has had a great season this year. He's the comeback player of the year for me, but what Adrian Peterson has meant to the Vikings, you cannot replace. Yes, their defense has been good, but offensively, without him, Christian Ponder he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Adrian Peterson has a 150-yard rushing game for the second week in a row. This leads the Vikings past Brandon Marshall, who's had a tremendous season, and the Bears. I don't know what to think about the Bears, but I really do get the feeling right now that the Vikings are going to end up being one of the teams in the playoffs with the wild card. There's a lot of teams right now that sit at 7-6, 6-7, 8-5, or 8-4. 8-5 actually, like the Bears. And it's going to be a crazy last few weeks in the NFC as these teams fight for the wild card positions. Brandon Marshall, though, for the Bears, he has been the MVP of that team for my money. 10 catches, 160 yards today, and a touchdown. Just a tremendous season he's putting together. The Chargers get a 34-24 win over the Steelers. This one came as a bit of a surprise. Chargers improved to 5-8. Steelers dropped to 7-6. Denario Alexander and Mike Spurlock of the Chargers spoiled Big Ben's return with a combined 150 yards receiving. Big Ben in his return was 22 of 42 with 285 yards, 3 touchdowns, touchdowns and an interception. So the thing that really helped the Chargers out today was they had good field position. They converted on field goals. They did a nice job. Philip Rivers had a pretty solid game today, but it's just too little too late for the Chargers. The Eagles get a 23-21 win over the Bucks. Eagles finally end their 8-game losing streak. They improved to 4-9. The Bucks dropped to 6-7, likely ending their playoff hopes. The last-second touchdown from Nick Foles to Jeremy Maclin. He was in bounds. Finally ends the Eagles' 8-game losing streak. And like I said, the Bucks at 6-7 right now, with the Cowboys getting a win today, the Redskins getting a win today. It does not appear likely, and if the Seahawks are able to get a win today, which I'll continue to recap later on in this video, then it appears very unlikely that the Bucks are going to make the playoffs at this point. Nick Foles, 381 yards, 2 touchdowns. Doug Martin had a great game, a great second half, 28 carries for 128 yards, 1 touchdown. Jason Avant for the Eagles, 133 receiving yards, and a catch of the year candidate. Easily, just a tremendous catch he had by the sideline, and I believe it was the late first quarter, early second quarter, one of the two. The game of the day was Redskins and Ravens. The Redskins get a 31-28 win over the Ravens. The Redskins improved to 5-6. Ravens dropped to 9-4, but this game was anything but conventional. You would have expected that if they were going to win, RG3 had to light it up, and he played a pretty solid game, but he strains his knee late. He comes back into the game, can barely even put weight on his right foot after a dangerous hit to the right knee. He can barely even put weight on his right leg. He comes in, makes a great throw to Pierre Garçon, gets him in field goal position, or in great field position, but he's not able to stay in the game. He has to come off, bring in Kirk Cousins, who they drafted in the 3rd round out of Michigan State. A lot of people question the move. A lot of people aren't questioning the move after today. Kirk Cousins gets them a touchdown. They're able to get a punt return that sets up a Kai Forbath field goal to win the game. The Redskins are just a fun team to watch. People thought they overpaid for Garçon. He's having a very good first season there. RG3 has lived up to all the hype and then some. And then to see a guy like Kirk Cousins come on and give them a chance to win this game, it's impressive. They're at 7-6, and I do think ultimately they will win the NFC East. The Panthers get a 30-20 win over the Falcons. The Panthers improved to 4-9. Falcons dropped to 11-2. Cam Newton, since playing the Eagles on Monday Night Football, has really turned his season around. He's cut down on the interceptions, and today he might have had his best game of the season. It's the first time he's beaten the Falcons in his career. He stays hot as the Panthers get a blow that really, to me, it has to concern you if you're the Falcons, because they have shown a history of having great regular seasons and then melting down in the playoffs when it counts. Whether it was against the Packers or whether it was against the Giants last year, any late season loss for the Falcons at this point is concerning. Cam Newton, the player of this game, 287 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 116 rushing yards. Great performance out of him. The Jets get the final 1 o'clock game. The Jets get a 17-10 win over the Jags. They improve to 6-7. Their playoff hopes miraculously are not completely done at this point. The Jags drop to 2-11. Mark Sanchez, after being benched last week, being named the starter again this week, had a very forgettable performance with going 12-19, 111 yards, 0 touchdowns. But Chad Henne's 2 interceptions for the Jaguars put the Jets in good enough field goal position to be able to win this game. Now on to the 4-15 games. The 49ers get a 27-13 win over the Miami Dolphins. This improves the 49ers to 9-3-1, drops the Dolphins to 5-8. Colin Kaepernick wasn't asked to throw the ball a ton today. He only threw it 23 times, but he did make the best of the times he threw it. He threw for 185 yards, went 18-23. On paper, he threw no touchdowns, only threw for 185 yards. That doesn't look great, but then you have to remember, he only was asked to throw the ball 23 times today, and when he didn't throw the ball, he also had a 50-yard run for a touchdown. That was very key to the 49ers winning today. Look, my feeling still is that Alex Smith gives them the best chance to win, but Colin Kaepernick played fairly well today. The Seahawks absolutely trounced the Arizona Cardinals 58-0. That's a 9th straight loss for the Cardinals. So after starting 4-0, they are now at 4-9. The Seahawks improved to 8-5, and with every game, you see the momentum building with this team, and you see the promise in a guy like Russell Wilson. And today, Russell Wilson in a 58-0 win was not even asked to do that much. He threw the ball 13 times for 148 yards, but the big guys of the day were Robert Turbin and Marshawn Lynch, along with this defense. But Robert Turbin runs for 20 carries, 108 yards. Marshawn Lynch, 128 yards, 3 touchdowns. And then the defense forces 3 different fumbles. Just a huge day from the Seahawks. And I know that people felt like they were running the score up or whatever, but people don't seem to have that issue when Tom Brady and the New England Patriots are dropping almost 60 on teams. So, which seems to happen once or twice a year. So I'm not sure exactly why they would have that issue with the Seahawks. The thing about the Seahawks is it isn't like they have anything guaranteed to them. They're probably not going to win their division, and every game counts. So you can't say at halftime, we're up 31-0, let's sit our starters down, because you lose momentum then. You need to continue the momentum all the way through the second half, so hopefully it carries over to the next game when you continue to try and build on your playoff hopes. So I don't have any issue with what Pete Carroll did. I know a lot of people don't like Pete Carroll, and I think that's why they were saying that, but quite honestly, it was a good coaching move to leave his guys in. And in the final game of the day, the New York Giants blow out the New Orleans Saints on the 4:15 national game, 52-27. Giants improved to 8-5. Saints dropped to 5-8. Victor Cruz goes for 121 receiving yards and a touchdown. Couple that with David Wilson's 100 rushing yards, which really was what helped the Giants to step up offensively today. Defensively, they were able to step up too as well, picking off Drew Brees 2 times. This is the 3rd straight week that Drew Brees throws at least 2 interceptions. He's really struggled down the stretch of this season. The Saints are finished. The Giants, they continue to win. They still lead the NFC East by 1 game over the Redskins and Cowboys, but with every game that the Giants win and the Redskins and Cowboys try and keep pace, it makes it increasingly more likely that, A, we're going to see some really good games that are very meaningful throughout the last few weeks of the NFL season, and then we're also going to see probably at least 2 teams out of the NFC East that make the playoffs, if not more. It's a crazy, wide-open NFC compared to an AFC that all the division races are pretty much decided. So that is your NFL final score for this week. I'm Tim Kelly. Check out therealsportstalk.com, facebook.com/therealsportstalk. Follow me on Twitter at KASHKelly_TRST, Cash Kelly _TRST, and I'll see you guys later.
Just a little bit around the corner from fear. Be there.